This is a yin yoga practice to release tension through the whole body with a selection of deep stretching poses. Welcome back to Devi Daily Yoga, where it's not about how your yoga looks, it's about how it feels. We will have options today to use a couple of yoga blocks if you have them, but if you don't have yoga blocks, there won't be any poses that require them. Let's go ahead and get started in a seated forward bend, taking it into caterpillar pose with both legs in front. And if you want to use blocks under your forehead, you can stack them in any way that works for you, or you can put them aside and just let your head hang. In caterpillar pose, the legs can be wide or narrow, maybe as wide as your mat, or maybe shoulder width, or maybe together. And as you come forward, we will hold this pose for 3 minutes. You can soften into the stretch of your spine, into the stretch in the backs of your legs. Hands might be on the legs, the feet, or the floor. Once you've found the position that your body is comfortable in, once you've found your forward fold, take a deep breath into the back body, the back of the ribs, lower back, upper back. And exhale and soften into the pose a little bit deeper. And take a breath in. And as you exhale, soften. And slowly, slowly find your way out of the pose, bringing the spine upright and coming all the way down onto your back for a rebound. 1 minute on the back to feel the effects of the pose. Feel the flow of breath and energy in your legs, in your spine. And now bend your knees, hug the knees into the chest, gently rock side to side, giving your sacrum a massage. roll over onto one side and come up to hands and knees for dragon pose. We'll be lunging, and if you've got the blocks, use them underneath your leg. So it might be 2 blocks on top of each other. It might be 1 block at the high height or even lower. If you've got 1 block under the hip, the other one could be under your left hand. Some people like this block right under the sitting bone, and others like it more under the thigh. So this is up to you. And where we're going from here is some semblance of dragon split, inching the front foot forward. See what feels good as we come into this exploration of bringing the 2 sides of the pelvis in opposition to each other. Your left side of the pelvis is moving back, right side is forward, and all of this fascia that holds the pelvis together is getting gently stimulated right at the core of your pelvis, the sacrum. Maybe you're feeling some back bend here. You can emphasize the back bend by bringing the shoulders farther back in space. Going lower if you wish, with a lower height of block or no block if you don't need it. Breathing in and softening as you breathe out. And now slowly making your way out of whatever version of dragon you came into. Downward dog now, blocks under the hands as an option. And walking the legs, bending one knee at a time. Feeling the hips, the legs, the thighs. Taking it into dragon second side. Hands on the floor without blocks, or using the blocks underneath the thigh, 1 or 2 blocks. Maybe inching the front leg forward, sliding it forward to your degree of comfort. Maybe using the other block under your right hand if you're just using one under the leg. And taking a deep breath in and breathing out, softening into it, softening right into the center of your pelvis, softening your sacrum, softening your right hip. And now slowly coming out of dragon and back into downward dog, optionally with the blocks under the hands. Walk your legs out. And start to make your way down onto the knees, taking child's pose with the blocks under the arms if you've got them. Otherwise, arms just on the floor in front of you. With the blocks under the arms, a little extra stretch in the shoulders. The side bodies. Breathing here into the hips. Feeling the energy flowing in the hips, the legs, the thighs. And slowly coming out of child's pose into not sleeping swan. You could do sleeping swan as an alternative. We're stretching into the glutes and we're doing shoelace pose. And so we want to stretch into the right glutes here as we take the right knee on top of the left. Alternatively, you could have the two shins on top of each other, knees wider in square pose. And we all have different skeletal structures, different skeletability, as we like to say in the yin world. So whether your knees like being on top of each other here, or one knee stays up, or they prefer being wider, one is not better than the other, it's just different. So as you come forward, you could use your blocks under your elbows, under your forearms, or under your head. And wherever you find yourself, wherever you settle, take a breath in and exhale and soften and relax a little bit more. And now slowly coming up and slowly changing sides. Left leg on top of the right, shoelace or square. This time our target area is the left side, left glutes. And once you've settled into your pose, breathe into what you feel. Breathe into the part of the body where you feel it. And begin to soften. Slowly releasing and making your way onto your back for a rebound. Once again, making yourself comfortable. 1 minute here to simply be still in any comfortable position and feel the flow of energy and feel the flow of breath through this beautiful body. As you sink into the support of the floor. And now bending the knees, hugging them into your chest. Wrap the arms around the legs. Lift the forehead up toward the knees and wrap the arms even tighter, squeezing into a ball. And release your legs. Come over to one side and up into a seated position for Dragonfly pose with some blocks optionally under your forearms or under your head in front of you. So narrower or wider, up to you. Again, it's all about our individual skeletability. And as you come forward, you can use these blocks to support your head, or you can use them to support your forearms. Stretching here into the inner thighs, perhaps the backs of the legs and the spine as well. Notice where you feel it. And now slowly coming up and coming into a lateral dragonfly. So you can use one or even two of your blocks. I like to have one on the outside of my leg and one on the inside. And then coming sideways, I can start out with my elbow on one block, and then I might want to move it to the other to slightly change the rotation of the torso. So these can be on the higher height or, of course, the lower height. And you can fine-tune where your blocks are. And so the target area is the left side of the torso, left ribs. It's not about how far you get down, it's about feeling this stretch. And the head can also relax a little more, perhaps, to get more stretch in the left side of the neck. The left hand can rest behind the back if you'd like to emphasize the neck. Last option is to extend the arm over the head. You might be someone who reaches the foot easily, but if you're not, then you could let the arm just extend and hang, or place it behind the head. Now I said that was the last option, but there's one more, which is to take the left hand and press into the left thigh, making a little bit of extra space there, which might be just the right thing. Seeing where your body wants to rest, which of these arm positions you want to settle into. And then beginning to breathe into where you are. Let your body soften into where you are. And slowly releasing, bring yourself back up to the center and take a moment to rest here at the center. And now let's bring it to the second side, placing your blocks as you'd like. Rotating the chest open toward the right and coming down. Right hand behind the back, over the head, contacting the foot, contacting the back of the head, or pressing down into the top of the right thigh. slowly make your way back up to the center. Once again, pause when you're upright with your spine. Take a breath and exhale. And shifting to a rebound position on your back, 1 minute. Inner thighs, side bodies. Notice what you feel after the last set of postures. Feel the movement of breath and feel the flow of energy inside your body. And now bend your knees, hug your knees into your chest. Gently rock side to side. Coming all the way to one side to come up to sit and find your way into your version of a saddle pose. Using blocks behind you to rest back on. I will run through some of the saddle pose options, and if you know the variation you like, then just go right into it. So we can begin with some of the modifications by sitting on the heels, or leaning back on the hands, or leaning back with the hands on a couple blocks. Or if it's not comfortable to sit on the heels, we can sit on a block like so. And then maybe just staying here, maybe coming onto the hands, probably not going farther back from there because it gets pretty intense when there's a block under the seat. So it's actually less of an intense back bend when you don't have anything under your seat. So the heels, you can sit on top of them. That's going to add a little oomph to your back bend and maybe make the knees not hurt. If you're comfortable, though, sitting between your feet and it doesn't hurt your knees, then you could choose to come back that way. So either option, between the feet or on top of the feet, and then we can come back onto one block at the base of the ribs and another block at the base of the skull. If it's too intense, take the one that's under your head up higher. Or if you want more stretch, take the one that's under your head lower. Or maybe take them both lower or use no blocks at all. Finding your version of saddle. You might enjoy letting the arms come up over the head or out into cactus arms, or simply resting them down along the side of you. Allowing the breath to flow as it will, noticing what parts of the body expand and deflate with the breath when you're in this pose. And with your next exhalation, see if you can release a little bit more into the shape. And beginning to make your way out of this, whatever it is that you have ended up in. Sometimes can be challenging. Be careful, be gentle as you get yourself out of it and make your way right onto your back for a rebound. The rebound after saddle can be quite powerful. Notice what's happening inside of you at this moment. And now bending the knees to place your feet flat on the ground as wide as your mat. Windshield wipers, arms come out to either side. Both knees to the right and just moving back and forth, side to side a few times. When the knees go to one side, the head can turn the opposite way. Can do the last few of these with the arms over the head. All right, let's bring the legs back up to center. We're going to take it into cat-tail pose. And we start this pose out with the right leg extended long down the mat, the left foot on top of the right thigh, and scoop both hips over to the left side of your mat. Take the left knee across and roll so that your knee comes all the way to the floor, and it's like you're trying to face your navel toward the ground and you're lying on your side. And from here, kick the right foot up, left hand to the right foot, and here's where we figure out where we're going to end up. If your head comes back to the ground easily, then that might be where it's at. You could let this left foot find a comfortable position. If your head doesn't quite come comfortably to the floor, then a block or something could either be under your head or under your knee, or one block under your foot and another block under your knee. Arranging yourself so that you feel this sense of a back bend that's happening because your right knee is going back in space. You can even kick into that left hand a little bit to get more of that back bending feeling. The shoulders can think about coming back a bit as well to get more of this back bend. So this is a twist and a back bend at the same time. Wherever you are, whatever position your body has found its way into, take a breath in and a breath out. Let yourself soften. Let your body relax. And let gravity do the work. And now releasing your version of cattail pose. Bring the knees back up to center. Straightening out your hips and spine. Pause at the center with your feet coming as wide apart as your mat and your knees resting in against each other. And one hand on the belly, one hand on the heart. Resting and breathing. And now shifting to the second side. Starting with the left leg long down the mat, right foot on top of the left thigh, adjusting the hips toward the right side of your mat and rolling onto the left side. Left knee all the way to the ground, inch the hip back so your navel faces toward the earth, and then bending the left knee, right hand to left foot, beginning to find your way into it. Maybe the head rolling open, shoulder rolling open, maybe a block to support your head or a block to support your foot or your knee or both. Fine-tuning yourself to discover how your body wants to feel this back bend and twist. And with the help of your breath, as you ride the exhale, let yourself surrender and soften. And now slowly releasing. Make your way back to center, straightening out your hips and your shoulders. Coming into a rebound. 1 minute. Spreading out as you will onto the support of the floor. Feeling the flow of breath and energy through this body. And now bending the knees, hugging them in, lifting the head up, squeezing into a ball, and releasing back down. Taking your 2 blocks, placing them under your hips for Golden Gate pose. Lifting up into a bridge-like pose. And here you might keep your knees bent. Feet could be about as wide as your mat or narrower or wider as you like, and maybe extending the legs is where it's at for you. Or we can take it the entirely opposite direction by bringing the legs up and over, supported snail pose, or if you want to go for it, lifting the hips off the block right into that full snail. Hands could be at the back or down alongside or up and over the head. Whichever pose your body is resting in, this is the final asana of this practice. Make sure you're comfortable, relaxed, and easeful. And let yourself soften into the rhythm of your breath. And now slowly coming out of whichever variation, finding your way into Shavasana, slowly and gently, making your transition into the final relaxation. Taking this time to make yourself completely comfortable. Welcoming a sense of total calm, peace, and ease into your being. And take a breath in and take a breath out. And the parts of your body that are contacting the ground, feel them all softening into the ground even more deeply. Your heels, your calves, the backs of your hips, the backs of your ribs, the backs of your shoulders, hands, elbows, and the back of your head. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, let yourself melt down into the ground even farther, even deeper. Enjoying the flow of energy through your body at the close of this practice. Just letting yourself feel what's happening. Let yourself enjoy and marinate in the energy that's been awakened and stirred. You can imagine that this energy that's circulating, dancing, tingling, whatever it feels like, imagine that this is your body's healing life force. And breathing in harmony with this healing life force. The force of life that comes from you, from this beautiful body. And now let your next breath or two or three be a bit deeper and fuller. Imagine that your entire body is a lung or a pair of lungs that you're breathing into, filling and inflating the entire body. Stretching out into fingers and toes very gently. Bring some movement back in. Wiggle fingers and toes. Stretch arms and legs. And this is the close of our practice. I'll leave you to transition in your own time, in your own flow. Thank you for practicing with me. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you next time.